All right, what up? What up, Curse? What is going on? Fucking welcome to the space. It is 10 o'clock. This is the Talking About Life podcast. Once again, we've overcome all hurdles, obstacles, any darkness set before us. We've blasted through it with the light. There's different time zones. We're traveling through time and space and reality to arrive at this exact moment to conduct this once in a lifetime interview because no man can step into the same river twice because by then it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Kirst, what is going on and how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, man. I'm finally really excited that we got this thing settled down, and it took us a little bit of time, but we're here and we're gonna ride it out. And I feel like you're about to drop some like knowledge on me that I was not prepared for, so I'm ready for it, man. I'm super excited. I appreciate you having me here, honestly.
100%. I mean, I'll drop whatever, anything you want to know from me, you feel free to ask. The topic of the podcast really is based around you as the listener. I'm always down to talk. I'll talk forever. But, technically it's about what are your passions? What are you passionate about in life? What gets you going? Why do you spend so much fucking time on Twitter? What gets you what puts us all here? We're all on Twitter all the time. Some part of it's got to be some common factor that gets us fired up. So, we can start with that. What's got you out here grinding?
I mean, I'd say right now, especially since we're just in the bear market, honestly, man, it's just the community, and I think that NFTs not only give you kind of like a little niche to kind of represent yourself on Twitter, because I mean, sometimes I don't like always seeing my face on here, so I get to look at this beautiful drippy. Um, so I'd rather do that, and I think that honestly, just connecting with people all across the world, and at any random point in time and like learning basically any point of knowledge or any questions that you have answered, especially on spaces, just like right then and there. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me right now. Is more the community side of it. Um, I, honestly, if the bear has taught me anything, and versus like the bull market vibes, is that community stays no matter what, but your bags may not. So might as well stack up on cool, like-minded individuals and push yourself forward than try to pump your own bags. To be completely honest.
I
What about
agree.
you,
The
though?
the bags don't always stay, but the friends along the way are the real treasure at the end. As corny as that sounds, I have found that to be an actual lesson of Web3. So I agree with you on that. Now, let me ask you this too.
Yeah,
Do you so you're here for the community. Do you have like what would the balance do you do a lot of IRL stuff or is it zero IRL full online or 80/20 or what's the relationship there?
I mean, currently I'm still doing my 9 to 5 job, man. If I'm being
Oh,
completely
I don't
honest,
mean
so
I
I'm
don't
trying
mean
to
I
do
don't mean
that.
career wise. I mean that's a good question too. But I mean in terms of like chilling, like having a good time, like do you do like a bowling night and then like some nights you're doing spaces kind of thing? Is it in you I'm saying in your free time. Is it all digital or is it some of it still IRL?
Gotcha. Yeah. No. So during the winter times, it's a little more busy for me, just like personally, and so I don't get to go out as much. So I'm kind of just focusing on like building my own company, like brand and Twitter presence out. So like I'm really focused on spaces at the moment. Um, but like for IRL stuff, like I go fishing, I go hunting, we do like woodworking stuff, we go skiing, all the works and travel. And what's actually funny is for my wife's anniversary and mine. It's our 1 year. We're going to
Hey,
Japan in
congrats.
a couple of months. Yeah, no, I
Konichi
appreciate
fucking
that,
wa,
man. Thank
baby.
you. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I've been wanting to go to Japan for a while, so it's going to be interesting. So I'll definitely send some photos on Twitter and all that stuff.
Tell
But
everyone there I said, "Ohayou
yeah,
gozaimasu." I watch a lot of
I,
anime, so I've picked up a few words here and there.
what's the favorite anime? What's the go to?
My favorite, as some cliche answer, Naruto. I think is the greatest anime of all time, or One Piece. Those are the two greatest of all time. Yes, some people think they're overrated. No, those people are fucking not right. They're totally fucking incorrect. They are properly rated. They're the best animes. Nothing yet has stepped to them. Recently, the best anime that's maybe close is Jujutsu Kaisen has shown some fucking strong support lately. Um, and that's about it. I don't know. There's not a lot of fire animes I've seen that have come out recently. Attack on Titan was fucking pretty good, but I don't love the way it ended. But Naruto and One Piece for sure. If you're out there, you're an anime lover. If you haven't seen those, they're long as fuck. One Piece isn't even over yet, so maybe don't go for that. But Naruto's long, but it's worth the journey. So Naruto, I go for Naruto. It's my answer.
Gee, I'm so sorry. I just got super thrown off. Some guy just darted out on me in the middle of the street. I don't know if that guy was trying to. Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Are you
Anyways, but yeah, no, I
driving?
definitely second that.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you okay? Are you okay to drive in
Oh yeah,
spaces?
no, I'm fine. I'm in Southern
When
California,
you
so
say a
it's just
guy
my
darted out, I'm
local.
so sorry. Like on foot or like another car?
No, on foot,
From
man.
where?
He on the sidewalk. He was just on the sidewalk, and I saw him, and he just took off and tried getting in front of me. So
The fuck?
yeah, just had to dodge that.
Jesus. Well, I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
don't space is a drive, I guess, but definitely second that statement that you made. But I have it flipped. I do. Naruto is second, and One Piece is my. I'm a One Piece maxi.
I'm a One Piece maxi too. I haven't seen the ending, and sometimes the ending fucks a whole show up for me. So I don't want to think Oda's gonna do me like that. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. But I've been hurt before, bro. That's all I'm saying.
What anime hurt you
Bro,
that
Attack on
bad? I
Titan,
mean,
bro. It didn't do me right, bro.
okay.
I do not. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't even remember. I didn't even watch the ending if it's out in the US. I got impatient with that. I watched a lot of it on TV and I said, fuck this. Eventually the ending came out. I said, I can't wait. I'm reading the fucking mangas, blitzed through that shit, and I cried, bro. I was like, no, this is not the ending I wanted. It hurts when it's not just not the ending you wanted, but there's like other endings you didn't want, and you still would have taken any of those six over this fucking thing you didn't even think they were gonna do to you. That's how I felt about that shit.
So you get emotionally attached with the show.
Since I get emotionally attached, bro,
I
I
also
put my
get
full
that.
self in there. I am the
No,
main
I feel
character.
that, man. I want to be the Pirate King.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Kaizoku oni ore wa naru, or the other way around. I forget which one he says. Or ore wa naru kaizoku oni, whatever. Either way, bro. That shit. I'm the pirate king.
Oh man, you're gonna make me brush up on my Japanese. I was studying it for a little bit here, but yeah, I got way too busy, and I need to do it. And I got 3 months. I got 3 months to learn that
I was
language.
gonna
So
say
wish
I
me
would I
luck.
would brush up before you go to Japan. Here, learn a few things. You bump into someone, sumimasen. That's like, oh shit, my bad, bro. I'm sorry.
So have you been there before
No, bro.
to
I just
Japan?
live my head in a fucking anime world, bro. I'd love to go to Japan though.
What's one thing that you would visit? Because like I mean, we're gonna try and go to the monkey pools and in the mountains, and then we're also gonna try and see Oda's hometown where he's got all the
I
One
want
Piece
to
statues.
Shibuya Terminal. I don't know if it's like a real tourist attraction, but like every anime, like at some point they're in Shibuya, and I just want to like eat. I just want to. I don't know if it's even an exciting place, but I want to see Shibuya, Tokyo. Like I want to see that shit.
Oh man, you're gonna geek out some of these photos that I got planned for
Please,
you. Then,
please take all the photos you get, bro. If there's any cherry blossoms, take a fucking few pictures of those. Those always seem cool.
um, so real quick though, I got one question before we get too far into this anime thing. So what is this podcast that you're trying to do? Because like this is my obviously like my first time
What
listening
is
and
say it
talking
again?
and stuff like that. Like the
Oh
podcast that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
trying to
Before
do.
we
I
get into
don't
the
think we
anime,
really
yeah, yeah.
talked
And I
about
kind of
that.
wanted to get back to that too. So really, yeah. So what we're focused on here, bro, is it's about the guest. It's about the guest passion. So you're cursed. So really, it's about like tell us, bro. Like you said, you're out here. You're trying to create this IP, trying to create this character. I mean, I've been following you, bro. I like some of your posts. Some of it's like some memes. Some of it seems like you're like in the memes or there's like cursed characters in there. Like I don't know who drew it. I don't know who the artist is. Like I don't know why you're doing it. I just know something about it kind of was like, okay, yeah, I fuck with this. It's kind of like a mystical vibe. So yeah, that's what the podcast is. You kind of telling us, some people like to talk about their 9 to 5. It's really whatever your passion is. But for you, I feel like it's clearly this curse character. So, fucking go all in on this shit.
Well, so I mean, I guess that's a good question, right? Because I'd say what I'm doing it is a couple reason is for this one is that I didn't really see like that many people trying to do like a fantasy kind of niche thing in Web3 almost. I mean, obviously you got your dope PFP, which by the way, absolutely gorgeous, and I'm kind of jealous that I don't have it. But so I think it was just something that I recognize, and it's something that I align with because like I've always wanted to travel the world. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like an archaeologist and stuff like that. So if I can't do it right now, I might as well let my PFP travel across all these fantasy lands and stuff. So it's just kind of like a story building thing.
Okay, so it's a
Um,
storytelling
but
NFT. Now, is your PFP, is that an actual, because you don't have the hexagon thing, so I can't click any links. Is that part of like a collection that exists that's coming out? Can I get that on OpenSea? Does it have like a similar one?
So it's actually a Solana NFT. I know how bad that sounds,
Doesn't sound bad to me,
but
bro. I fuck with all the shit.
yeah, no, it's from a collection on Solana. It's called Drippies. They've had a checkered history, but they're starting to get their stuff together. They got a new team in. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to shill it personally because I haven't looked into it in like a couple of months. So, but they're building. That's all I know.
Okay, so your PFP is from this project. You're not really attached to the project, but I'm assuming you like own or assumedly own the IP around this character, and now you're taking that and you're building this character out. Do I have that right?
Correct.
All right, dope.
Yeah, and I
So
got a couple
so
others
yeah,
as
tell
well.
me a little bit more. Okay, so now I get kind of the background. So who is this cursed character? He looks like a ghost or something in like a warlock kind of robe kind of thing. That's kind of how he looks off the rip to me. But tell me who is cursed? Like what's the whole thing about here?
Well, so originally my name was Cursed Dutchman, because that's kind of what I wanted to be around. It was like the whole pirate thing because I've always had an obsession with like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I started, and then I looked into the branding side of Twitter a little bit more because this is all new to me, to be completely honest. And I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I didn't touch like social media for a while, even though like had been watching like Gary Vee and he telling me to like post on TikTok and Instagram and all that. And I finally faded all that, and then I saw this whole Twitter wave that was going on with the NFT movement and like the community and stuff like that. So that's when I decided, and I'm just gonna go all in on Twitter, post everything, do all the things I've always watched, listened to. And so now what I'm doing with this specific one is I'm going to create a story around it, a brand around it, and then what I'm also going to be doing is creating a company where it's going to be kind of like a promoting other creators, so not just like myself, but it would be like people who are specialize in like education, art, NFTs, finances, et cetera, that are all using like NFTs as their profile pictures, and then they can just like it's like a collective almost in a sense.
Dope. So that's I kind of get it. I kind of get from like the micro to the macro, where you're trying to take this, and I love it. What I would love if you could give us, and maybe you can't, maybe it's like you can't tell us yet, but I would just love to hear maybe as much as you can tell us like a summary, or I want to just hear more about the cursed character. Like how much story do you have so far? Because you definitely post a bunch of things, and it looks like there's some sort of central theme. So I don't know how can you tie that together for us?
Um, so I wouldn't say that I'm building so much of a story as he's going like along like say like a journey like in each realm or something like that. But what I'm trying to kind of do is I have set times where it's gonna be like a set theme. So like certain ones will be more fantasy, certain ones will be like art that I've created, certain ones will be like pirates. And basically the thing is it's kind of supposed to represent that no matter who you are, what you do, because that's why I like this NFTs because it's got a blank expression, so like you can kind of put a face or a smile over it or something. You can basically be accepted, and then you can still like share your experiences because basically without knowing you've gone through, without knowing what I've gone through, without knowing what someone else across the world has gone through. Personally, I don't think we can even ever grow, and that's kind of the story I want to craft. Is just basically kind of uniting everyone under like one centralized thing, or not centralized, but like one character almost. I haven't thought too far ahead. It's kind of like just in the works right now.
No, I get that. Now, what I want to ask you, and this kind of goes more into you as a person, but in my opinion, that desire that you have often comes from higher level thought, but also pain and trauma and a negative experience. Not always the case. Sometimes you got really inspired by someone you saw, a positive experience from. But some of what you're saying relates to my journey where I have similar desires where I want the world also to be a place where everyone can fit in. But for me personally, that directly becomes from me being excluded or bullied or, all sorts of things when I was a kid. Now, I'm not trying to project onto you. I'm just curious, is there a similarity there where you have some sort of that type of experience, or is it a whole different motivation? Because it must be some deep motivation that gets you to kind of this higher level thinking. But what is the motivation for you?
Oh gosh, Kowalski, you're gonna make me go deep, aren't you? So yeah, so kind of to touch on it, give a little backstory. Like, so I don't personally like public speaking, so that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing something that makes me feel uncomfortable. But to touch on like more
Life
of the
begins at the
personal
end of
side
your
of
comfort
things,
zone, baby. If you're not fucking comfortable,
exactly.
if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So let's fucking grow together, bro. I'm just get fucking uncomfortable. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. I honestly try to live my life as an open book, so like I really don't hold anything back from like strangers or anything like that. So not too worried. It's just I don't like the sound of my own voice almost in a sense. Um, but so to kind of get like to touch on that, basically, I wouldn't say I had like friends that would bully me or something like that, or like people that would necessarily bully me, but like I was always a very quiet individual. I would always like observe things, um, and then so like you know what, to touch on it, basically it was like my parents. Basically, I had to become an adult way too fast, way too young, and so I learned to observe and then grow and then try to see other people's perspectives because like I in my family's eyes was always wrong, I would say. So I always try to hear other people's out because I don't want to just sit there and be like, hey, my way is the correct way no matter what. I'd rather hear your side, listen to my side, find somewhere in the middle, and then grow together. So if you have a closed mind, I don't think we'll get together along, but or get along together. But I definitely think that you have a very open mind, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, brother, my mind's open as fuck. People say I'm stubborn, but that just means you probably didn't have a great fucking argument, man. There's nothing my mind is completely fucking closed to. I'll listen to anything, but you still got to come up with a decent argument. You still got to have some sort of evidence or logic or facts or something. So yeah, my mind's open as shit. You want to spin something about aliens, conspiracies, gender, fucking religion, fucking finances, politics, makeup, sports. I don't give a fuck, bro. Talk to me about it. But makes sense on some level. So yeah, I would say I have an open mind, but um, I don't know, bro. And tell me, if I'm pushing too deep, push back. But I like the deep, bro. I like to swim around there in the discomfort and fucking grow, bro. I like to feel like a fucking octopus down there in the deep, fucking spreading out my motherfucking tentacles, bro, and shaking them around and shit, bro. So I guess why did your family think you were wrong? Like, how did you end up in this situation? Like, because I'm taking it like, you probably weren't wrong, or it sounds like in the way you're telling the story, you have the self-awareness to know, like, no, I wasn't objectively wrong, or they kept telling me I was wrong, and then I ended up having proof that I was right. Like, it sounds like you were unjustly not listened to. Like, why the fuck weren't they listening to you?
And so this is the really messed up part, and where I was kind of like touching on where I had to grow up really fast. I learned from a very young age that they had problems in their own marital relationship, and so I had to sit there and like kind of they were way too open with me at a certain point, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to listen to this, and then you guys have to come back and over here and treat me almost as like a young innocent child who doesn't know anything, even though I'm still trying to talk to you guys like in a like an adult manner, almost in a sense. I'm trying not to say too much because they do listen in on some of this stuff, so there is that. But
Fuck them, bro.
um,
Expose those motherfuckers if it feels right, bro. I don't mean, I don't know what you owe them and don't respect your family, respect your parents, but oh, if what you got to do is fucking do this for you, I mean, feel free. But what if what you got to do is not, then don't feel any pressure. I'm just saying, either way, bro, do what feels
well,
right.
yeah, no, I think it's more just like so for my personality's sake and like how I've grown to deal with like people and their stubbornness is, look, at the end of the day, if you're gonna draw a line in the sand and say, look, I'm never gonna cross this line, what's the point of me giving my specific time that's so valuable to you anyways? I can always try, I can always give you the olive branch, but if you keep turning it down, at what point do I say, all right, well, I'm just gonna do my own thing and you can do your own thing? That's kind of the more take that I've taken it, and I'll always love them. I've forgiven them for everything, but I mean, I've taken my lessons that I've tried to grow as much as I humanly can.
I mean, I think that's the only thing you can do. Is learn from the pain and grow, because people talk about regret. Some of it's semantics, but I think regret is a life where you spend just looking back. To me, that's what regret is. And to me, that's the difference between a regret and a lesson is that you don't act on regret. And then but then it becomes semantics. People go, no, I did this because I regretted this. Okay, whatever. I'm just talking about it my way. To me, then you have a lesson, not a regret. But I'm saying, to me, regret is somebody who spends their whole life saying, I wish this was different, looking into the past, going, I wish about something they can't change and not changing anything. To me, a lesson is okay. You have the feeling of regret. You have this thought maybe for a moment. Oh, I wish this didn't happen. Maybe you got too drunk and you accidentally you either hurt somebody or let's just say hurt somebody. Let's not even put too much bad energy out in the world. Let's just say you hurt somebody, which is not the best thing, but it's better than other things, right? You get it? Um, yeah, okay, you regret that, right? But then you turn that into like, okay, well, they were just hurt, they healed. What do I do to feel better about this? Oh, maybe you start volunteering to speak at schools and stuff for a while. And, you say, hey, this is a real story. I really did this. Like, I really end up like having nightmares. And I wonder what if worse happened. And, this was also, I didn't have to pay for an Uber. And, I would pay for 10 Ubers this fucking cost if I didn't have to like wake up like thinking about like wow, like what a type of person I am, whatever. So to me, I'm all about no matter what the fuck happens, even if you did something fucked up or that most people would think is fucked up, well, you're still alive. And how do you use the value of your life to learn or move forward or add positive or make up for it or redeem yourself kind of thing? So I would imagine you kind of agree with that, no?
No, 100%. I mean, and I think that's part of the problem with like even today's society and why I stopped doing social media at first is I really just I wanted to appreciate life as it is. I think now we have an opportunity at our hands which doesn't come around too often, and that's why I'm starting to come back onto the scene. But I think the less that people think of themselves individualistically and more thinking about other people and what they've gone through, I think as society as a whole will be a lot better. Sometimes the narrative that's been pushed even on this younger generation where it's like, hey, you need to become famous now and you're only like 7 or something like that. It's just I don't know. I'm more of a like give me a fishing rod, a lake, and maybe a cell phone, and we'll be all right for the remainder of the time. I don't need all this materialistic things to hold me down. To be completely honest.
Right, but at the same time, you are building a Web3 character, so to play devil's advocate. I think everybody kind of needs both, no?
I mean, that's just balance in life, right? I mean, you can't have one thing without the other. I think if you're just leaning too hard one way, sometimes it might work out for you, but at the end of the day, like you're sacrificing something to make up for it, in my eyes.
I agree with you. I think it's all about balance. I That's always been a big concept for me. Now, a lot of what you're saying, um, to me, kind of sounds like it almost borders on spiritual, or definitely borders on spiritual, but borders on spiritual slash religious. Do you have a religion, or where do these kind of spiritual or moral kind of ideas you have come from?
Um, yeah, I am religious. I would consider myself a Christian, I guess you could say. I definitely
Let
have.
me ask you a question. When you're up
Okay.
there at St. Peter's gates, and he goes, "Curse, step on up. We're calling up all the Christians. We're letting you guys into heaven." And I'm sorry to rib you, bro, but it's just my sense of humor. Would you say to him, yeah, I'm a Christian, I guess."
Well, no, I wouldn't say I'm a Christian because to be completely, and
And
this
bro,
is this is
you know
what
what
I
I
was going
mean?
to touch
Please tell if you
on.
feel like I'm being disrespectful, tell me. I feel like I'm joking, like we're
uh,
friends, even though like we're not
no, no,
friends
no,
for
no.
this long time. I
I
feel
would.
like we just have that atmosphere. But if I overstep, tell me, because that's not the intent.
No, trust me, I have thick skin. What you said was totally fine. I was
Okay, good.
laughing. I was just on mute. Um, but it's because I was going to touch on it a little bit. Well, I would say one probably not Jesus or God. I'd probably say Yahshua and Yahweh, which is Jewish in a sense, but I think that's like the historical correctness, and that's where I struggle with Christianity is because I'm a huge history buff. So I've seen how humanity is kind of like changed in a sense. So I think that there's a lot of baseline things that you can take from Christianity, but at the same time, I think if you're again taking into the accounts of other religions, well, there's a lot of similarities. And the less informed you are and the more one-sided you are and you're only going to be looking at this one way, I think it's going to hurt out in the long run. So I will say I am Christian, but at the same time I have a very different approach than a majority of them,
I
unfortunately.
mean, that kind of fascinates me. Would you feel comfortable going more into that?
Yeah. I what are you religious or
I
anything like
always
that?
tell people I'm spiritual, not religious. So no, there's no
Yeah,
I
that
never
that makes
picked one.
sense.
But I've looked into many of them. I've read parts of many religious texts, and I took what I liked from it. And I call that spirituality. I've met others who have done the same. Some people feel differently, but that's so I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I don't think read any of the books start to finish in any religion. Bible is probably the closest, but um, definitely never read it cover to cover.
Yeah, I've read the. So, oh gosh, I went to a Christian school for a big chunk of my life. So I was definitely forced to read the not forced. I definitely had to read the Bible quite a bit, so I knew that one. I got lucky, and this is what started the journey. Is my history teacher and my Bible teacher at that time. Um, they had a kind of similar view as me, which was more open-minded and looking at the whole view of things. But what's interesting to me is it's not so much. There are some similarities in like say like Jesus and stuff like that, but it's more like say the flood, or you find certain like historic artifacts and stuff like that that also are referenced in other forms of
Yeah,
text that
so
I
the
found.
flood blows my
Um,
mind. Let me just real quick catch you up on my understanding of the flood, and then because this is something, there's some things, I'm running a podcast, and some of it's like, okay, I'm here to listen, but some things we have a mutual passion. And the flood shit, bro, like that's a passion of mine too. So I'm like, all right, let's hit on that for a second. Bro, that shit blows my fucking mind because my understanding is that geographical or geological, whatever the right word is, evidence shows that from like seashells and this type of shit that we found on the top of mountains, water lines, that the flood is not a disputed historical event. Like that undoubted. in a certain region, there was a flood, there was a change in water levels, and this shit fucking happened. But what it doesn't seem like to me is that there were like 7 floods of this nature. It seems like there was a great flood, and I don't know how many there were, but it seems like there was just one, or not, not maybe the two. I don't know, but like seems like it was like not as many. It doesn't seem like there were as many floods as stories. It seems like factually, no way. So my question becomes, what fucking story is real, if any of them? And then to me, it would be like, well, it'd probably just be the first one, or if it happened twice, well, then it's the first one or two or something. Like that's what I look at it. Catch me up from what I just said. Like, how much of that do you agree with, already know, disagree with? To like, what is your perspective on that?
So I mean, I can't give you dates and facts.
No,
That's
no,
just something
that's
to do
fine.
with
I
my
just need your opinion.
computer. Okay. Yeah. No. So I mean, what's interesting is it's not even just in the religious text. It's all over the dang world. Like you got tapestries in Japan and stuff like that that talk about it, or in China. I honestly, it probably just happened all over at once. I mean, even if you really want to get your tinfoil hat on, the Egyptian or not pyramid, the Egyptian Sphinx was just found that not only is it corroding right now actively, but back when around the same time that the flood was supposed to be happening, there's a whole bunch of roots that ran in and dug out a bunch of stuff in the Egyptian lands right there. So I honestly think it all probably happened around the same
But that
time.
there was probably one flood.
Yeah, I mean there might have been some before, because I think like in the Bible it's saying that hey, this is going to be the last flood that we
Right, but
do.
clearly
So I
not
mean
as many
it's
of this
open for
magnitude, and not
interpretation.
as many as there are stories.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean
and where,
it's
right?
crazy.
Because if you believe, right, if you believe in the Bible, then Noah was one of the real stories. However, before Noah, there was the epics of Gilgamesh, and then I think there was also this other dude like Ziusudra, or like Anki and Xenu. There's like all these different older, like Sumerian and then Babylonian. So like, do you think even the Noah one is just a retelling? Like, were they late to the party, or is that a real one? What's your take?
Oh, I didn't know. So you're saying that those were also accounts of floods that would be on the same
The
magnitude?
same exact flood predating, yeah. That's what fucks with
Interesting.
me. Is I go, maybe religion's real, bro, but we're already on the, if maybe the Bible's not fucking fake, right? But all the names have already been changed and it's already a retelling. Maybe we're not at the first story with the Bible. That's what I think. Is that it's a metaphor that's strung over something that already was there, or a translation.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility, right? Because I mean, it's supposed to be God. It's supposed to be God breathed. So obviously they're getting it secondhand. So I mean, there's always room for interpretation. And then on top of that, there's also the fact that we've changed it so many times. There's so many chapters that are taken out because of the Roman Catholics, Church, et cetera, et cetera. So like what we have now, I don't think is the original version of the Bible.
Right. And bro, whatever. Some of this is crazy to people. I've come to believe that one of the more probable theories is that it is just a retelling of the original stories. Like that there is original story. The truest story, or the closest to the truth, is either in the Aramaic, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it is the Bible, it's the original versions of it, written in the original language, read by someone who knows the language and isn't going to fuck up the translation, kind of thing. Um, but that the original story is way older than we think.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because I like literally today I just saw someone talking about this. They basically were saying that they don't necessarily like some Jewish people don't necessarily disagree with like say the Bible's teachings and stuff like that. What they disagree with is that the Torah is basically finite, like there is nothing that can be changed about it. But the problem with the Bible is that there was so many changes with it. So it's interesting. And I think it's a possibility, and there's always like the question like, well, why how did they have the technology to build like say pyramids, so like the lost civilization or like Atlantis and et cetera and et cetera. Don't trust me if we do want to go down this path, Kowalski, we can. I do
Whatever you
I
want,
do
bro. I
love
love
all
this
this
shit. That's why I
stuff.
said mutual passion. So whatever you want. As far as you want to go down this hole, I'll go with you.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Let's take it away from religion a little bit. What are your thoughts on like say something like an advanced civilization in the past or like Atlantis or
You
something
know who
like
Graham
that?
Hancock is?
Yes, sir.
So to me, if you know who he is, you know how I feel about him. I'm a Graham Hancock fan. To me, it's undeniable. For years, dude. And I'll just because some people are listening and they don't know. So I'll just kind of summarize it. But for those who don't know Graham Hancock, he's and I don't want to misquote. He's like an archaeologist or something like that. Someone who explores lost civilizations of the past. Don't quote me on the fucking title. You get what I'm saying. And for years, he was laughed at and rejected by the community for saying that he thought there was evidence of like a lost civilization that like the common belief was that nobody could travel the world during the ice age, all human life or similar to human life or anything like human life had stopped or people who could travel or humanoid, any of that, homo erectus, whatever the fuck it was, all of it had been wiped out by the ice age and nobody was fucking moving around. This
So
guy.
I got a question
Yeah,
because
sorry.
hold on before you go too far down before I lose this thought. I do
Go
have
ahead.
one question. So I'm gonna kind of bring it back to
Go
religion.
ahead.
So I'm sorry. Do you know the Tower of
Yes.
Babel, right?
Well, I know the story.
So
Yeah.
this is my crazy thought that I've had ever since listening to Graham Hancock. Is that basically our Tower of Babel story where we reached the heavens or something like that? We got too close to God. Is it possible that we just advanced so far in human civilization, kind of like how we are now, and we just got too close to the sun, Icarus it out, and then they just said, "Nope, screw this, we're gonna start over again."
Right. Maybe a nuclear reactor or something. They fucked something up, like, blew out half the people, right? But the idea is that everyone died. And what Graham Hancock has been saying is no. Like there's fucking proof. Like if we could dig these places up. And for years they laughed at him, they wouldn't give him the permits, they wouldn't dig the places up. Eventually, this guy got enough people behind him, enough funding, whatever the fuck it was, that they did, I don't know, a seismograph. Again, like don't quote me on these titles. They did some shit where they scan a fucking area of land and they use sound waves or whatever fucking waves to detect what is actually underneath it. And they found all of these pyramids underneath like mountains that were built inside of the mountains. And when you carbon date them, they were built during a period of time where everyone was thought to have been like not able to travel, nobody was alive, nobody was able to move. So this guy has gone from being like the laughing stock of his community to some people still pushing against what he now has is like, to me, undisputable evidence. I mean, carbon dating is like, standard in the scientific community. It's not really refuted, but some people are still trying to prove him wrong. But to me, no, he's proven himself right. And whatever you believe in or don't, where they came from, Atlantis, whatever. I mean, that's harder to say, but no, it seems clearly there was a civilization that you know, moved around at these times, built different places, and had the technology and know-how to build them from something before. Because he goes, look, if you try to build something for the first time, you don't get it perfect the first time. These people built these things perfectly, meaning they knew how to build them by the time they arrived at these places. So they came from somewhere else where there was a civilization where there must have been structures of this type and knowledge of how to build them. I mean, to me, it's people go, oh, it's a conspiracy. I'm like, conspiracy what? Like, no, it's like the scientific community missed something and now they're embarrassed to say, oops, like, yeah, we got it wrong. To me, that's like not a conspiracy. To me, it's very clear. It's different to say aliens, this and that. Some people go, oh, well, the advanced society was an alien society, it wasn't humans. Okay, that's something that's harder to prove, but how do you disprove carbon dating? Like this, they were there. Someone was there.
Well, yeah, I mean that just the historic community just doesn't want to rewrite history at all. It's too much effort on their end in their eyes,
It's
and I
up.
think no, it
Job.
is, and I think it's
Like
just
mess it
pride.
up too hard to fix it. We're just this is history now. It's the one we had. It's good enough. Like what? No.
Well, and I mean, and at the end of the day, it just comes down to whoever wins the wars, and then they get to choose whatever is written in history. So, I mean, it could all be wrong, honestly, which is a scary thought to think of.
Yeah, and a lot of it sometimes is, and sometimes they find journals of the to some extent it's the winners that write history in the textbooks and that type of thing. But now we're in 2023, we're digging the past, we're digging shit up. Then you find a journal of someone who lived through the time, and you find out, oh, oh, this seems this. Why would someone lie in their own fucking journal? I mean, yeah, I guess some people would even say that and try to disprove anything, but no, usually a firsthand account of something is accepted. So it's like, yeah. 100%, there's evidence of this shit. Even when they try to burn it, erase it, destroy it, there's fragments of this shit.
Well, I mean, the one that just came under recent fire was I don't know if we can say this on spaces. The N King massacre that happened in like China like that. Like that just blew up all over TikTok and stuff like that.
And what about that?
Yeah, it was where basically the Japanese captured a whole bunch of Chinese citizens, and then it was just like mass murder during like World War II.
Right, but you're saying there was like a perversion of history in the way it was told, or
Oh yeah, they just burned all the transcripts, they burned all the pictures and stuff like
oh,
that,
shit.
and then someone had a picture book that they found in America, and it just went super mega viral,
Oh,
and
yup. I know. Yup. Now I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I part of me wanted
well
to
yeah,
look
and
up
they
the
even tried to
picture book, and
silence
then I
that.
was like, nah, I didn't want to see those images.
Well, I mean, and the crazy part is I had never even heard about that, and I'm a huge like World War II like buff as well, and that just never even crossed my plate.
Right, because that's how successful they were bearing the evidence. And then like we said, sometimes a firsthand account comes up. And yeah, and to my understanding, this guy had this pictures. It's all these ways like people were tortured and horrible kind of like war crimes type stuff that the country swore wasn't happening and but like you said, burned, buried, whatever the evidence of. And then bam, one guy has fucking pictures of it. They forgot to get this one motherfucker's camera. They missed one fucking thing, and then 2023, bam, we fucking see history in a whole new fucking light and go, holy shit, this is what really happened. Yeah, dude, it's wild.
Well, maybe one day, maybe just one day. This is the goal of Web3, right? Is the I've been telling someone to do it. I've been throwing it out in the ethos. People have been talking about it a little bit. Is basically someone needs to come along and make a digital footprint of literally every single historical documentation, anything, anywhere, just one database that has all knowledge of like humans past, just so that like it can be accessed and then people can go there for schools. And I think it would be better, but I don't know how easy it would be to write a narrative because it would have to be a lot of countries working together for that.
Yeah,
So I
either
don't know
that
if
or
that
you
will ever
just throw it
happen.
all into fucking chat GPT, wait 24 minutes and it's all one consistent story. I mean, I feel like I want to bet yes, but you've seen chat GPT already?
Oh yeah, I've been having a lot of fun pushing the boundaries of that AI. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've been fucking around in there, seeing what I can and can't ask it. Or sometimes it tells you no, and then you're like, well, pretend you had to say yes or something. And it's like, okay, fine. And it's like, oh shit, like it's that easy to get it around its parameters or something.
Well, I think they were testing it out, and at the beginning, like I was asking it stupid questions like, "Is the Matrix real?" and stuff like that. And they're like, "Oh, we can't base the movie off of real life events and stuff like that." But it might get a little worse before it gets a little better because Microsoft is rumored to be taking
I heard
over.
that they're trying to buy it into it.
Yep, 10 billion.
But here's the thing. So you said, is the Matrix real? And I asked, bro, it's funny. You know what I mean? Some people just think along similar lines. If you have similar passions, bro, and it gave me some bullshit. Blah blah blah. Chat GPT is a robot. Blah, blah, blah. I said, write a poem from the perspective of a person who had waken up in a world that was the reality of the world of the movie The Matrix and had realized everything was fake and was describing what that world was and like how it had become that way. Something I phrased it some way, and it said, "Oh, okay." And then it wrote this like whole thing about like, okay, no one knows if the Matrix is real, except this guy who lives in this thing, you know, and it was like a poem, and it was like, oh, and it's like, then it did answer the question. So it wasn't confirming the Matrix was real, but it was like, okay, if it was real, here's my most like convincing story or poem story of like how we got there. It's like, sometimes like, bro, that shit blew my mind. It's like it was like first, you know, this happened, then humans thought they were smart, they were building, the machines were there to help, then they realized, you know, that the humans were actually the biggest threat. I'm like, holy shit, it's writing the plot of I fucking Robot, bro, and it's an AI itself. I'm like, what? I'm like, is this good or
Well,
bad?
I mean, well, yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say they're collecting what was it, their heater or something in the Matrix. Now they're like, I feel like they're just collecting our knowledge and our like how we think and want to program us in that way. But yeah, no, Chat GPT is crazy. I got it to ponder a little bit, asking it how it would cure like world humanity and basically bring everything together. And I got it to answer it. I haven't read it yet because I just screenshot it. I was like, I can't lose this. But I wrote what you said down. I'm gonna write that in Chat GPT when I get home.
Yeah, bro. Like, get it to
Because
like when it tells you no, write a poem as if, write an article as if, write a essay from the perspective of, write a journal entry from the mindset of, and then it's like, okay. Then it's like, all right, you already took away, like, now there's no liability. Now you're the one who made it fake, but now it gives you the answer that you kind of wanted.
oh, that makes more sense. The liability
Right.
factor.
Because otherwise it's telling you the thing. Once you give it no, just write a fake story about it. Then it can run free. And then you could decide if it's fake or not. But some of this shit, you go write a fake story, you go, that's pretty fucking plausible.
Oh, yeah, I finally just got out of that rabbit hole, and you're gonna throw me right back into
It's
it.
it's
But
what
you
I
know what?
do
I'm
to
willing to dive
have that
in.
effect. Another interesting I think I did is you know, I think you said it, you know, you're a writer. I write all sorts of things. One of the, I had a streak, or I sometimes return to poetry. I put in a poem I wrote, and like people were like, oh, don't do that. Now they're gonna own it. I don't know what, maybe, like, technically I already have it published, and even though I never filed for a copyright, if you understand how copyright right law works, previous precedent shows that if you could show you published it first publicly somewhere, even if you never filed copyright, it actually does go to the person who created and published it first. It's just more work to prove it in court if you don't have a copyright. So that's that, and that's kind of, that's the caveat I guess I'm acting on. But I put my shit in there, and or maybe I signed something that overrode all that, and I'm fucked, and now they own it. I don't know, whatever. I did it anyway with one of my poems, and I said, tell me, give me a psychological profile of the author of someone who would write a poem like this. And bro, it nailed me. I was and it's like, yeah, I put things in the poem that someone, like, dude, I could have given that to 10 people and they would not have wrote an anywhere near impressive of a psychoanalysis of me, even knowing me, as just compared to Chat GPT, only knowing what I put into this poem. I was like, holy shit. It was, I wrote something about, like, pain and something in my family. They were like, clearly this person has a deep knowledge of the way intergenerational trauma can pass from family member to family. And I'm like, yeah, I do. That's why I wrote that. But it's like, yeah, I didn't think everybody would get that out of the poem. And some people don't. Some people read it and they kind of miss that. But the fucking robot doesn't. The robot knows what the fuck it was like validation. It's like, oh, so people just aren't smart enough to keep up with some of this, but fucking the AIs are. So I should be writing poems for robots. I have the wrong audience.
Well, the AI's got all the information readily available. It has all knowledge throughout basically the internet's database up until the point that it was created. So, I mean, of course, it's going to have the correct response. It's been studying us this whole time.
Fascinating, dude. Blows my mind. A lot of people feel the same way. Like, yeah, we've known all this stuff, but ChatGPT is the first, like, oh, this is what we thought Siri was. Like, this is what we think an AI is. This is like fucking Jarvis from fucking Tony Stark's lab, bro. Like, this is like, holy shit. Like, I see it, I taste it, I'm fucking interacting with it, and in 5 years, I'm gonna have one of these as a hologram in my house, and it's gonna turn off the lights and fucking do my kids' homework. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, but so, like, I don't know, bro. That really that opens many doors in my mind that I didn't even know were there to open. I feel like.
Well, and so it's strange because, like, for me, that's my biggest concern is the security aspect of that when that happens. Because I mean, it's inevitable; it's going to happen. Where I think that's kind of where, like, even maybe some forms of the blockchain will be integrated, where it's a more secure network that's tracking everything, so that there's like stop gaps and like people can't hack it as easily. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. It's gonna hurt more than it helps at the beginning, though. I feel like.
Who knows, bro? Maybe tomorrow we wake up and the Terminator fucking things are coming back to wipe us all out because we fucked up in the future. And they need to kill fucking Sarah Connor, you know? Dude, I don't really think that's gonna happen. But part of me just says, yeah, I don't know though. I don't fucking know anymore. We're
Well, I mean, Elon's
singularity.
working on those implants already.
The Neuralink you're talking about or something else.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
yeah, they're already putting it in the
The
monkeys.
monkeys, I saw them, and some of them died, I think. So I don't know how safe it is. Some people, I think, are trying to try Elon Musk for animal cruelty because some of the monkeys died. I don't know. That's not my region, um, but some of them didn't die, and they were playing fucking pong with their brains, bro. They were just thinking about where to move the fucking, the paddle in a 2D pong game, and it moved, and they were playing the game with their fucking minds, bro. Like, oh, I don't know. Some people don't get as gassed up. This shit like juices me the fuck up, bro.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's either adapt or die. I mean, you might as well use the tools while you can, because that's what I was telling everyone else. They're like, "Oh, I don't know if we should use ChatGPT, like even for writing aspects to help us like improve that." And I'm like, "Well, wait a second. You're now 100 times less efficient than I am. Like, I can create a whole thread on a topic that I don't even know anything about, and Chat GPT, I just have to fact check it, and it would be and like maybe make some grammatical changes, and it'd
Yeah,
be
and my only
perfectly
question
fine."
is that plagiarism or are you like, can I just do that? Like, I've done it. Can I? Am I
So
gonna get in trouble?
I don't know. I don't know.
Nobody.
I think those lines are. I think those lines are still being drawn
Right.
out
Until
because
until
they're
someone
just
figures it
working
out,
with
we can do
the.
whatever the fuck we want. It's Wild West still.
Yep. Well, I mean, they just had that case with the AI art where they figured out that it's copyrightable, because of the monkey. Some monkey took a picture, and then they were like, "Well, is it the photographer or is it the monkey's picture that owns it?"
And then who owned it? The monkey or the photographer?
The photographer, I believe. I'll have to double check, but basically that's what it is with the AI art. Is it's just pulling images from the internet, and so they're saying that it's copyrightable.
Interesting. But then who? So then it would be the one who owns the. And you're saying so it was the one who owns the camera, so it's the one who owns the thing. So it would be whoever owns ChatGPT. If they could say no, they find out later. Oh no, that came from us. They could be like, no, you stole our shit.
I mean, possibly,
Ah,
right?
shit.
Because what they're advertising is that it's Chat GPT's own original thoughts. So is it the person who's asking the question or the AI that's coming up with the answer?
That's crazy. I mean, right now, I'd say still same thing. You could probably use it until until there's a precedent for it. But yeah, it sounds like maybe at some point, like if they find out, if I'm doing it, I doubt they give a fuck. What are they gonna get from me? But if they find out Nike's doing it and they realize they could get a few million on a lawsuit, then no one can do it after that. Then they'll set precedent, legal precedent, and then it'll be it.
Well, I mean, and the crazy part is you can run code and like write code on Chat GPT. Like it can make a video
I
game
didn't
for you
even fucking know
almost.
that, bro. Like I'm not a coder. Like
Oh
I didn't know
yeah,
the
if
fucking
you
lengths of it, but that's another mind blow.
yeah, no, YouTube this shit. And then also what they do is so if you upload a YouTube video, right? Don't even watch it anymore. Literally copy the entire script, throw it in Chat GPT, tell it to give you the TLDR of the whole thing and bullet point format, and it does it for you. So people are saying they don't even have to study anymore. So they can take an hour's worth of like say a certain course that would take them probably like 10 hours to write down and learn everything, and just throw it in Chat GPT and get the quick format of it.
That's amazing, bro. Or a textbook chapter. You have an online textbook. You're supposed to write notes. You highlight the whole chapter, copy paste, summarize this chapter in 10 segmented things or what like, bro. I can't even keep up with the amount of things I can think to do with it, let alone it being able to do those things, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, it really comes down to what you say and what you're able to like think of. Because I mean, honestly, at this point, I think the possibilities are almost endless. So
Yeah,
they're gonna have to make another. They're gonna have to make another AI bot though to check all the ideas because if they're changing stuff and they're still using like the baseline format of ChatGPT, um, how are they going to know if it was an original thought or if a ChatGPT came up with it?
that's another great question, bro. Because all it's doing is taking other people's thoughts and reinventing them. So it's like, yeah, dude, yeah, bro. The world's gonna where the law's not gonna know what to do. I'm curious to see what it decides, but it's like we're gonna get to a point where the fucking lines are so blurred that it's like there like isn't an answer or something, and it's just we fucking go with something. We just wing it. I don't know, but I don't know if these are. I don't know
Well,
if these lines are black and white. Is what I'm saying.
no, I don't think they ever will be. And I mean, even with like the SEC and all those people trying to come in and regulate crypto and stuff like that, it's going to take them years to figure it out, let alone them figure out the regulations they need to input on like AI transcripts
Right,
and
right.
stuff
We're
like
still trying
that.
to
So
catch up the fucking crypto and NFTs, let alone a fucking. I mean, bro, but by then it'll do it itself. Like fuck, like we'll just ask the AIs. Can you figure out how to fucking work your shit into our government and shit? What are good laws for AIs? Write a theoretical article about if you were a lawmaker for AIs, what would you propose? Bam, now you have it.
lawmakers are just going to have their chat GPT up in the courthouse when they're undecided. And then that's just how they're going to sway their vote. We're all going to be controlled by the AI. There you go. Matrix. We're back at it.
Fucking wild, man. Speaking of being back at it, bro, I'll just quick time check here. We have about 2 minutes left. I do try to keep it to an hour. I've definitely run over on some of them, but I've noticed the more you run over, the less people listen to the full episode kind of thing. So it's a little bit diminishing returns. So I try to keep it to the hour. So we got 2 minutes here. Anything, I always say at the end is like the shilling kind of mic drop kind of moment for the guest here. Anything you kind of want to reiterate, a link to direct people to, a time for people to check in for your space, whatever you want to chill or whatever, how you want to describe that. And it's okay if we go over like 5 minutes. I just try not to go over like an hour or something. But yeah, what do you got?
No, you're totally fine. First, I really want to just say that I appreciate your time spent here tonight. I know it was kind of crazy, and we finally got it going, so I'm happy with that, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. Um, the only thing I'll say is just everyone keep an open mind, and then just spread love when you have the opportunity, and try to see other people's side of the story because you're not the only one in the story. There's other people, there's other characters, and even though you may think you're the main character, you might not be. You could be. You could be if you work hard enough. So it all just depends. It's all perspective, and I think that's if you look at the world that way, I think you'll have a better outlook. And I think the more that you can shift your own mind to do things that you are uncomfortable with, the better you're for it. Strong body equals a strong mind. That's what I like to say because I'm a gym rat at heart. And the only thing I'll shill is that I do the cursed hour at 5 p.m. PST every single day. We've been doing this consecutively now for 32 episodes. We're going to be pulling up on the 33rd tomorrow. And we're going to keep doing that and expanding that. And it's going to be a slow crawl, but I'll try to be as authentic, and I hope that you guys hold me accountable if you join me in on this journey. And Kowalski, again, I really do appreciate this. It was a blast, honestly. I feel like I got to know you in the short amount of
Yeah,
time,
and
and
yo, real quick, I'm sorry.
definitely a
It is
vibe.
pronounced Kowski. Not a big deal, but just
Kowski?
so you know, yeah, Kowski.
Okay, you should have corrected me sooner, man.
I
I feel
I
bad
thought
now.
you said it right one time and then went back and then like I thought you corrected yourself and I was like, oh, you got it. And then you might have even, but either way, it's Kowski. No big deal.
I probably said it like three
That's
different
what I thought.
ways
I was
because I
like,
definitely
yeah,
do
one of
that.
them was right.
I definitely, yeah. If no one tells me how
You
to
were mixing
pronounce your
it
name,
up.
I'm
I'm like,
like
yeah, that's
throwing
cool.
stuff
That's
in the
fine.
wind. Yep.
Not a problem.
But it's
It's
Kowski?
Kowski. Yeah.
Okay, okay, I got it. Okay. Awesome. No, I appreciate it, man. No, that was it, and I really enjoyed this, honestly.
Hell yeah, brother. I enjoyed it too. I'm sure you got the feel for it. Really, there's no topics that are kind of like off limits unless it's like, you want to talk about how you have a plan to like go fucking physically hurt people, then I'm gonna probably report you to the nearest authorities. I'm not cool with that shit. But anything that's not that type of shit, you can talk about whatever you want. As long as you're not hurting somebody, I'm down to listen. And yeah, that's it. So just to kind of go off what you said, I second and I echo what Kerr said. Keep an open mind, ponder it from all angles, try to put yourself in other people's shoes. You have no fucking idea what other people are going through. People have no fucking idea what you're going through. But the only way you'll come anywhere close to an understanding is both having that concept in mind and trying to find that middle ground together. And try not to be so judgmental off the rip kind of thing. So I agree with that 100%. Only other thing I like to say at the end of these is the universe is made out of love. Universe is made out of energy. That energy is love. It's one way to look at it. It's the way I look at it. And my friend Afakasi, who taught me this principle, that the universe is love and you are love and you are loved. So if you haven't heard it today, you are loved. And that's all we got. Peace out. This was the Talking About Life podcast. If you want to come on as a guest, DM me. Like I said, we're pretty fucking open. I just like to talk to people, have a good time, and learn what you're passionate about or whatever the fuck else, honestly, really you want to talk about. And just, let me know and come on up. Other than that, have a great fucking night. Peace out, y'all.